Call is now. Hey, girl.
Hey, hey.
All right.
What we got?
Tracy Constantine here with the old Mother House, the Mother House faith-based, holistic, a bunch of names, private membership association.
Yeah, it's hard to hit all those credentials, in one mouthful. I mean, yeah. Just send it to your website.
Yeah, I think I find that the best wording is faith-based private membership association, and I am Tracy Constantine, the holistic health guide.
I'm going to say it real fast. How fast can you say it?
Oh shit. Okay. Faith-based faith. No, I've never been good at that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yes, well, I'm Tagg, also faith-based, and I am menopause and women's health holistic practitioner.
Yeah, I love that.
All my information will be in the description below.
Yeah, I love that.
The influencers say.
Maybe I should put something about energy. Well, to be continued on that one anyways. So, let's see, what are we talking about today?
Um,
I have some things, but I was just wondering if you had anything.
I always have things.
Oh yeah, okay. Hook it up. Oh, wait, we're gonna do your second dream.
Oh, right. The second half of the dream. Okay. So my daughter, and this is the dream. There is no backstory on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going into another dream from the first dream, and the dream about the contract. So my daughter,
Oh, right.
she announces she has some
Oh,
big.
wait. I just want to back it up really quick. So, how did the last dream end?
I wouldn't sign the contract.
Okay, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were at the end of that one. Okay, new dream, got it.
Yeah, I danced all around. I wasn't signing that contract.
Okay, cool. That's cool. All right.
Exit stage left. So, going into the next dream, my daughter announces she has this huge announcement, and as a parent, she's an adult now. As a parent, you're always taken back because you're like, oh God, what is this going to cost me? You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah,
you have
sure.
that kind of mind frame. So in the dream, I'm like, yay. What's your big announcement? I'm trying to be supportive of her. And the background of the dream was like the Mystery Time Machine from Scooby-Doo. And
Cool. Like the side of the van. Got it.
right, like the side of the van, all psychedelic and everything like that. And then in the dream, she starts to announce, guess what's happening? And as she's talking, the sound goes away, and she's doing this like a figure eight in the dream, and then
That means infinity. Okay.
her arms started creating a figure eight this way. And
Oh.
so she expands in this double figure eight, and it's like it's like this, but it's in a figure eight.
Okay, yeah. So
And
each one. Mhm.
all of a sudden, an X goes through it, so it looks something like this. I don't know if you can see that.
No, you can't.
No, okay.
But I know what you're talking about. So you have the cross, the not the cross, but the line here, and then you have two lines. So it's like
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
like
a pie. It's like a pie. Got it. And with each one is a figure eight line going through each other. Okay,
yeah.
got it.
So you have the vertical.
So you would have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You would have 8 lines going around, but each one of them would be a loop.
Four would be a loop because
Yeah.
it's
But
divided.
if you divide it, because there's a point in the middle, so each one of those has 2, so it would be 8. It would be 8 around, 8 loops around. Got it.
1, 2, 3. No, 4, because you have this, the figure 8, and then you have the figure 8,
Mhm.
and then you
Well,
have
it's 4 that goes all the way across, but if you were looking at like a clock where there's 12, even
oh,
though
it
there's
would
only
be
6,
12, 6, 3, and 9.
there
Those
would
are
be.
your loops, your loops, and then
I don't think it matters. Keep going.
so
I mean, it does and it doesn't, but what we'll see it. What? Yeah, keep going.
it doesn't. It doesn't. So I've been trying to figure this out. What this means, and of course, my mind goes to food because I'm thinking, okay, is this the center of a kumquat? Is the center of an orange? When you cut it in half,
Oh, okay. So you're kind of going with fruit. Okay, I see. Okay.
and then I'm thinking, no, this is much deeper. This is forward thinking because there's no emotion attached to it. There's no like mystery because I wonder what it is. So it's not like residual
So
feelings.
I mean, I guess so. This is what I would say for to look at the dream in a whole sense, right? Because we are holistic practitioners, holistic guides. And so you take the pieces. So there's a couple pieces. One is your daughter, it's your
Mhm.
daughter. So I mean, I guess I would say that's like feminine offspring kind of energy. And then there is the whole point where she is complete, instilling fear into you. Pretty much. Not on purpose, but like
More
that's
so
how you felt.
anxiety because I'm trying
Okay,
to
anxiety.
attach something to it that's not even there. I can't even hear what she's trying to say.
Okay.
So
But you
it,
did have anxiety. You felt anxiety in the dream.
I felt a little anxiety.
So daughter, anxiety, and then her body pretty much turned into an infinity symbol all around. There's,
Yeah,
her
yeah,
legs and
yeah.
plus what she was saying. So even, her mouth, her arms, her legs, which ultimately looks like the I
Well,
can't
the
think of.
legs were joined. The legs were joined
Oh,
together.
together in one. Oh, like a cross. And
And then,
then her arms were out.
uh-huh.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's a lot of little details, but I would say really three big ones is the one is who it was, your daughter. Two, the uh the anxiety, and then three, um the infinity symbol. I mean, obviously, you could even go and even deeper with the infinity symbol because it was kind of in a pattern shape, but those three. And so I guess if I were to ask you a question about this, does the feminine energy within you have anxiety around things that seem to be infinite in nature?
Hmm.
Like, right? I mean, like, meaning, like, or maybe letting go of some of that anxiety, that, right? Because when I feel like when we have a dream like that, and it's
Mhm.
kind of, well, I feel like when we have a dream that like really holds a lot of symbols for us, it means that we're kind of moving out of something or letting go of something.
Mhm. Yes. And I can understand why you would ask that question with you being um, uh, Mother Earth, you know, because of your energy work and everything else that you do.
Hmm.
So I kind of had to sit with that and think, all right, so in my practice as a holistic menopause and women's health,
Hmm.
I'm I'm trying to uh, set the intention of, okay, well, there's the beginning, there is the mother, and then the child. There's a connection. We connect. She's her own infinity. I'm my own infinity. Pattern, circle, cycle, whatever you want to call it. But there's a connection there. And the lines going through that can be interpreted any way, going forward or going back.
Oh, I love this.
So with
Very cyclic thinking for like the women's health. I love this. Okay, cool. Yep. I see that.
So going a little bit deeper internally, I'm thinking, okay, well, there wasn't any pain associated with it because pain is something from the past you haven't dealt with or released or you're attached to in some kind of way. So the anxiety is forward. You know, when we think too much about the future, anxiety kicks in. So I'm thinking, okay, well, these could be arrows going up, you know, going forward. So I don't know. I gave it a purpose. I'm like, okay, I internally asked to see and reveal to me what this is in 3 days. 3 days. Because I got some other stuff to do and I can't put my energy towards this, but I want to know what it is. So I jotted down on my calendar to set a trigger to remind myself, okay, 3 days ago, I was seeing the symbol and who delivered it was my daughter. We have a connection. This is forward projection. And, you know, amazingly, the anxiety went away about it. So now I'm in a mood of receiving the answer.
I have a question. So do you talk to your daughter on the reg or?
Yes, we speak once a week. We're not in the same town anymore. So every Sunday we have a video chat and yeah.
So I would be curious on a later episode after you talk to her to see if she has any news. If she has any big news for you.
Yes. Well, Sunday will be the third day. So
Oh, neat. Okay. All right. So
Monday.
that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Yeah. So cool. Cool. All right. So that's a cool dream. Let's see. Have I had any dreams? So speaking about my dreams recently, it's very interesting. I have been in this, and I go through these small spurts where I'm not, can't remember anything about them. It like the next morning, like usually I'd get up and be like, oh my God, what the heck's going on? But I am out when I'm in the world and like kind of doing things, I'll see something and say, oh, so I know that I'm dreaming. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's like, it's just not, I don't know, maybe it's just not important to have the knowing of what it is right now. Or maybe it would be too much, too overwhelming because I'm doing a lot in my physical world. And I don't know if I could be like really in like dreamy right now because, it's just, I don't have a lot of space for that. But today, guess what time I woke up? 2 a.m. That's when, so I've been up since 2 a.m. and I'm like
2:00 or 2 a.m. ish.
2 a.m., 2 o'clock in the morning.
Huh. Did you look up 200 numerology, the number 2?
Oh, no, I don't remember like the exact minute, but it was close to 2. And I do normally what I'll look at when I'm waking up at this specific hour is the Chinese time clock. Have you seen that? Where, okay, we're specific. I want to say it's 2 hour blocks throughout the whole 24-hour period actually are related to a specific organ or set of organs.
Right.
And, during that time, that's when those organs are replenishing or shedding or whatever they need to do. And so, to be honest, I don't know, from 2 to 4, maybe it's the liver. I don't even know. I didn't look at it, but I think I just needed some time to stare at the ceiling because I had to revamp like every single thing that I was doing. So I'm like, I okay, here's another thing. I haven't worked a like a I don't want to say that, but I haven't done like, an 8-hour shift at a corporate job since last August.
Oh,
And
you haven't been a slave to the system?
no, no,
It's not something
no, no, nope, I have not, which is so amazing and freeing. Um, at the same time, there's a whole another slew of like, fears that come up because I'm so used to doing and being in that. But this whole week I have been, I have now I'm in my office and I'm not in the other place. I'm working for myself and the higher consciousness of the world and the people in it and whatever's outside of the world to raise the vibration frequency. So that's my job right now. And when you go back, I don't think it matters either way when you're doing full 8-hour work and got a small lunch in between, but I'm like just going at it. I'm tired right now,
Yeah,
beat up.
yeah, yeah. Well, sorry I keep raising and switching around. My desk is higher than my chair. And so when I sit in it regularly, I look like a little kid, which damages my ego, because I'm looking for a high chair to boost me up. Yeah, so I don't mean to be switching around a lot. I know
Oh
it's
no, it doesn't matter. I like switch. I think that it's good. Like it goes back to the whole piece where I think both of us definitely have a commonality, which is movement is important and good. And I think that that is a big piece that I advocate for in our lives in anything that we're doing because and you see this with like little children who can't sit still in school, like don't sit still then. If you
right.
need to if you need to do this, do this.
Yeah.
If everybody else is uncomfortable because you're doing this, then we're going to figure out why everybody's uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like yeah,
Would
they need
hear that.
to move. So and some people are vibrating a little higher than other people.
Yeah.
So move it out, girl. Go ahead.
So about your dream, I had a dream similar to that, where I was waking up like and I recorded it too. 328, 348. Eight was like a major
Oh,
number, and I thought it was three,
mhm.
But every time I jot it
If
down,
there's that infinity again, this is very interesting. Okay, keep going. You get must be the infinity might you might want to figure out because you might have some connection to that pattern and
number eight.
in you
That's
know.
that's a really good. Let me just drop that down.
Yeah.
Number eight. So the common denominator was number eight, and this was a couple of months ago. And I mean, I was like you, Tracy. I was going through it. I'm thinking I should just go back to the working world and suffer through that and give up on my practice and the
Mhm.
bottom line is that I've been studying this all my life secretly simply because of all the
Your
naysayers and
and your health issues too, right? I mean,
health issues and not being in the same alignment that my family is in.
mhm.
So I have to do. I got to move in silence. And so,
Yeah.
anyway, not to make a story too long, but every number I looked up in numerology, it said that I was on the right path. in about 7 different ways because the whole week, 7 days, I was waking up at that time in between that time. And it was like the universe telling me in 7 different ways, I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Finally clicked, you know? So, you know, for what I do with uh, menopause and women's support, it's all connection for me. And I'm thinking of the number 2 that you are. I'm feeling that the number 2 that you're connecting with has everything to do with connective tissues. And from our meeting yesterday of how you want to align, you were laying there with that body part, trying to connect inwardly, so outwardly you could connect with the alignment that you're trying to move into.
That makes complete sense because even yesterday in the meeting, I said, I'm just not right. I'm seeing like I am now. I feel almost like I just went through this whole kind of matrix um exercise in my body with my connective tissue to like kind of re not rewire but like get everybody on the same page type of thing um to and I'm kind of coming out of that where I'm like just exhausted from trying to like it's like okay, so this is interesting. I had this thought one time where it's so
This is gonna be good. She's laughing before she even tells me.
oh gosh, it's so good.
This is
It's
gonna
so good. So everywhere I go, and this is how I get information. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, but this is just how it comes. So everywhere I go, I find myself in life. So like if I'm in like trying to be in with the spiritual community or trying to be in with the corporate community or whatever, right? um I found that I realized this common denominator, and not only with those communities but even growing up with friendship communities, with my family community, just kind of every human that I've ever met in my entire life. Up to now, where I feel like obviously I'm the common denominator, right? So I wasn't following my dreams, and therefore this is what I was projecting out and onto the world, which was if we so if we think about it this way, that we are the nervous system of the earth. And there's just all these components of the earth. There's blood, there's bone, right? There's water, there's trees, there's bone, there, right? So we can kind of compare it to a human body. We can compare the earth to one human body. And if like in the it as people, as us people, where everybody's like, no, this is mine, right? This is my part of the earth, or this is my thought, or these are my children, or this is right. And so like everybody owns everything here, right?
just greedy, just owning up
But
everything.
but if you think about it in terms of like say a body, and the mind, right, has to deliver information to the rest of the body in order for the body to move, right? And so can you imagine if the body worked the same way that humans have developed our working patterns, which would be the mind gets a message and it's like, I'm copywriting this shit, you know, like, and the message needs to go to the legs to say, move your legs. But the
Right.
mind's like,
Yeah,
I copyrighted that shit. You can fall right on your face. And so,
yeah,
you
yeah,
see what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
like, and I can't remember why I attached that story because we were talking about something else. But, um,
Well, you were laying in bed 2 o'clock in the morning trying to
oh,
connect.
the connective tissue, right? And so I think that I know for a fact, kind of like with your you had the myasthenia gravis, right?
Mhm.
And I know that have had some connective tissue, kind of like autoimmune slash whatever shit,
Yeah.
and some adrenal autoimmune stuff. And so yeah, I think that I'm just learning how to well, I think this is what happened somewhere along the line in my bloodline and in my star family. People started holding on to information, and it reflected in my physical makeup.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
A disconnect.
It was disconnect, and so
Yeah.
my connective tissue definitely has been going through a lot of repair.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So has mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you reminded me when you brought up the example of trying to fit into corporate and trying to fit into family groups and friend groups and stuff like that, how disconnected I became with myself.
Mm,
I wasn't in alignment, hence the 2x
mm.
connection.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Wow. Hmm. 2 a.m., you're in bed, you're laying down trying to connect the dots,
Mm.
trying to rethink about how your forward movements are going to be concerning your
So,
practice.
so this is, and I'm sure you do this too, because I know you're just like me when it comes to this. I just know you are. And there's a lot of us out there. We're the alpha people. And once we get into a project, we're like full steam ahead, right? Like I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, I'm not doing anything. And I keep getting these messages like from spirit, whether it's like through some card readings that I'm doing or what I'm reading or the movies that I'm watching, or just the thoughts that are coming in when I'm sitting there in silence. And it keeps saying to me, Tracy, you need to bring it, make sure you're having fun doing this.
Right.
I need to like even right now, I woke up at 2, I laid there until I don't know 4, and then I got up, I took a shower, had a dance party. While I was cooking food and making smoothies, and then I did lay down for like 10 minutes
Mhm.
because I felt, tired. And then right down to the office, trying to revamp everything that I need to revamp. Because of course that's what I was thinking of from 2 to 4 in the morning, like kind of like what does that look like? What does that feel like? And so after our meeting, I want to go right back to it because
Mhm.
then I have to do a healing at 2:30. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a walk and go hug a tree or two,
Right.
and then maybe lay down for a little bit. And then if I have a little time before I have to do some ceremony before the healing, I will. But I really do have to remember, like, take a lot of breaks. Take a lot of breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a lot of breaks. You now have the time to do that. You're not trading it anymore. So take a lot of breaks. I take a lot of breaks.
Do
I
you
mean,
take a lot of breaks?
I do. I
Oh,
do.
good.
Yes. And it's great. I have 4 books lined up. And yes, I will read them all at one time. Uh,
What are
they're
you reading? What are you reading? I'm curious.
I have um, I have the energy code or the human energy code. I have
Oh, wait, wait, is that the same thing as, um,
because there's 2 books in that.
okay, I'll have to look it up. Keep going.
Yes. I have I'm reviewing the Chinese medicine.
Okay. Cool.
I studied under Dr. Wu in Texas
Oh, cool.
in 2008. Um, Great guy, brilliant
Is
guy.
that like are you talking like the herbs of it or the points, the pressure points,
Points, the
or kind of all the above, the meridians and shit like that?
meridians and points, yes.
Okay. Hmm.
Because the herbs, that's on a different part of,
That's on a different level.
yes.
Chinese herbs are wow.
Yeah,
And the blends are like their medicine is just beyond like you need a doctorate
right,
to deal with that much.
right. And so, you
I
know,
do more of the Ayurvedic herbs, and
that
then even like I mean, I guess you would call it like American holistic
yes, American
herbs.
and Ayurveda,
Yeah.
I say Ayurvedic. Um,
Okay.
Herbs is mostly what I use. One, because they're readily available, and
Mhm.
then I need to do a comparison with the Chinese herbs as far as the symptoms
Okay.
because of their blends. So
There's a woman, Bridget Shea. She's actually local. She wrote a book that blends Chinese and Ayurveda. And so,
Bridget Shea is her name.
yeah, Bridget Shea. I don't know the name of the book itself, but I think she only has a couple books.
Sure, but what's one more book?
But you might down the road if I don't even know what it looks like. You just look at like the description and see.
Mhm.
But she's an acupuncturist locally,
Yeah,
and she was my acupuncturist early on in my awakening.
yeah,
Definitely needed that.
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother subject right there.
Did
But
you have an acupuncturist? Have you done that?
oh yes, yes, I have.
Oh,
As
okay.
a matter of fact, one of my instructors, when I had the studio, he's a tango instructor, Mark. Um, he is an acupuncturist, and so yes, I mean, I already had like a line,
Cool.
yeah, holistic.
Mark, the god of war, Mars. There.
But
So
sweetheart,
I
but he'll
bet
bring
you
it. He will bring it.
when
Uh,
he
yeah,
right.
yeah,
One of the things, and I'm gonna generalize, I don't give a shit. Um, one of the things I've noticed about every single Mark that I've ever met, and one of them was my I have some throat chakra stuff coming through saying this right now. One of them was my stepfather growing up,
mm,
but they have a very firm grip, very like
that makes,
like I've danced with a lot of marks, and just it is there's a presence there.
yeah,
It's a they said, oh, I recently saw this, like and I think it was from ChatGPT, um the the reasoning or the characteristics of each planet. And
mm,
so the characteristic of Mars was action. Yeah.
yeah, action, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I danced with Mark a couple of times, but Mark is so in tune with himself
Mm.
that his lead is very gentle, and,
Oh,
and I'm able to dance within that brace with
oh, that's nice.
it with expression instead of steps. So
That's interesting. Okay, so it must have been my energy with that energy, you see?
yeah,
It's not universal.
Yeah.
So like, and I think we do this, and this is good that we're kind of talking about this, because I see things from my view, from my point of view, from my perspective. And so a lot of times I will get it in my head that everybody feels the same way that I do about the world. And that's just not the case.
Oh my gosh. I pick up on so much energy that I actually have to give it boundaries. I really do. I gotta say, look, you you know, uh,
Yeah.
I wish I had that versus, well, let me just not go there because I wouldn't want to exchange it because I've learned how to live with it for so long.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, so let's see, those two books. And then of course, I have the magical of herbal plants, the magic of herb plants that speaks about it on a spiritual and not, well, I don't want to say not, I got to read the book, but it's more spiritual on herbs and medicinal effect of it. So yeah, round robin,
Mm.
it's all connected and it all works together. So I have mind, body, spirit when I work towards everything. That's why I got, 4 books lined up. So be in compliant with the mind, body, and spirit. And then, of course, there is the ethers, the thoughts, simply because it could be sporadic, how thoughts just change like the wind, pretty much. So there's the void that you need to consider there to kind of quiet the thoughts. So then my 4th book is actually writing, so I can bridge it all together. That's my system. That's how I work. It might be too much for, I don't want to say average person, but
No, I think it sounds, it sounds like you have developed your systems and it works for you. I think what I what I find for me is I don't I probably have systems that I work by, but I don't know of them. Like I don't they're not in awareness when I'm like saying picking things or whatever. I just tend to um listen to if something keeps popping up, and I think I have a couple books that I'm in right now. Um, uh, they're all upstairs, so I couldn't even tell you, but I just finished Why the World Doesn't End by Michael Mead, and that book was awesome, just unbelievably
you're the
awesome.
second person that I heard say the title of that book.
Oh, so good. And what else am I doing right now? Well, I probably need to do more yoga. And so, one of the things that I have been doing last season and this season was I started to try to go on hikes in the Adirondacks solo by myself.
Hmm.
And and so right now I'm being directed to go up this really big mountain called Giant Mountain, directed by my past experience with the mountain and who I was with the mountain, and trying to recreate that. Um and it just came to me after the first mountain that I did. And I have a lot of fear. around it. And so I have been kind of troubleshooting that and kind of just allowing it to unfold and look. And it's interesting because a lot of the fear will pop up before I'm going to bed, like at night, and that's always been the case for me ever since I was even little. Like it was, I mean, I was scared of the dark most of my childhood. So, um, but I believe that I am going to get the courage to go. And today was a different feeling behind it, which was I went from wanting to release the fear and like wanting to force it out to while I was in the shower today thinking it'll go on its own and you're okay and just like sit have the fear right now. That's okay. And when you get to a place where you don't have the fear isn't you know so much to where it's like stopping me from getting in my car and driving up and going on the mountain,
Right.
then I'll do it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
there's bears and wolves and shit up there.
Real ones.
Real ones.
Yeah. Not
And snakes, rattlesnakes.
clothing, but the wolves in sheep clothing. Uh,
Yeah, no shit. Those are everywhere. I walk out my front door, they're right there.
all right, but where you're going, there's actual animals.
Actually, you know what? I don't know how much time we have. Okay. I'm gonna bring this up because this is really what I've been steeping in over the last couple of weeks, actually. It's a series called The Handmaid's Tales. The Handmaid's Tales. And it is very it even has a disclaimer right in the beginning that says, don't want like this is for adult audiences only
Uh-huh.
because it's based on a book about um I want to say I don't know if it's the whole United States or yeah, I want to say it's the United States where in the United States um a uh, some type of group, I don't know if it was political or secret society or what, um, took it upon themselves to murder tons of people because they weren't following God's law and if they were, like anybody who was gay or um, anything that was not quote unquote in the Bible. And then they developed this whole thing where there's these handmaids that were completely tortured if they did not produce children for rich families that uh, couldn't have children. And so the way it's really it brought up a lot for me. um and I don't even, I mean, I guess I do kind of know why, but I'm not gonna go there because it wasn't any. Okay, I have memories of past lives, right? But I don't have any memory of like trauma in past lives. I don't like remember any of my deaths, like specifically, like in a memory or anything. But it's just a feeling that I have that I feel like I remember trauma and torture and stuff like that when I see it, say on the screen or it's talked about or whatever. It just gives me this overwhelming sense of like fear, sadness, I mean, all types of crazy emotions. And so I watched the first episode and I wanted to turn it. I was like, this is really disturbing and I don't know if I can make it through. And the message that I got was we don't run from that. we allow it to be there. We can slow down on the episodes, but we need to like look at why that disturbance is there and how you can comfort yourself so that it's not affecting you like that anymore. And so I'm at an okay place now with the series, but it is still like fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, those triggers can be annoying when we forget that they're reminders, of some things we need to deal with and
Yeah,
accept.
because like it's not I'm I know that maybe that type of stuff happened in the past, right? And I know that that stuff is happening now in the
Mm,
world. And
yeah,
I know that that stuff is going to happen in the future, but is not happening to me right now
yeah,
in my present life, right in this moment. It did happen like in my past experiences. I had really awful relationships and blah, 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 and trauma and all that. But right now, I'm in a safe environment. I can
right.
actually say that.
Because you have your routines, your rituals, your
And I have placed boundaries with specific people and energies in the world where I decided to stand in my power and say, no, I'm not going to be treated like that anymore. And if you need to live your life a certain way, then you just can't be in my life. I don't judge you.
right,
I just can't, I can't have people, I'm a recovered alcoholic. And so I can't have people drinking around me that's alcoholically, and I can't have certain things. Like I can't have certain boundaries crossed where people feel like weight to me, or I feel like I need to be weight to them, like I really am kind of looking at that stuff.
yeah, right. You're deciding on what your limitations are. I don't want to say limitations, that's rude. But what you're saying is that you know what you want in your world, in your energy, in your space, and you're giving it a purpose. Want it, not want it, you,
And I think, now that you're saying that, I think that is why I can actually open the door to watching this right now. Because I think before this, I still what had old contracts and agreements that I didn't even realize were there in my spiritual self and being that I needed to get some closure around before I could even try and process looking at this gruesome. It is gruesome to be there's a lot of rape in it. Um there's a lot of
truth,
what?
truths.
There's a lot of truths. There's a
Yeah,
lot of truths. And
but
it has to do around not respecting that people well, I it has to do with these unseen contracts, I guess. It's interesting because you had the dream with the contracts too. It's like a lot of contracts.
yeah, yeah, and it's if you're not aware of it, you do you turn to you people tend to turn a blind eye towards it, and it's still going on at the most advanced stage that this world has been in, you know.
Have you heard of on this? I mean, now we're going to go into some deep stuff right here. Have you heard of the book I don't know the exact name of it, but it's something like the Sophia Codes, the Dragon Tribe. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of the Sophia codes, but
That was intense. I mean, like she was brought into, child torture,
yeah,
child torture to extract some adrenal stuff. Or I don't really even know how it works, but to hear her story and then know that she made it through that, and now she wrote a book about it and all of that stuff. It was an inspirational book for me for sure.
Mhm. I've read similar stories like that that allowed me to come out of my closet when it
Okay.
came to childhood issues and trauma. It's really
Okay.
sad. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of the Sophia codes,
Sophia, because that was a good book.
um, but we have a new moon in
Oh yes, let's talk about the moon. Okay. And
yeah
what?
in Virgo. So
Well, maybe not. So it's this will
oh,
be good.
pretty
This
much.
will be good. We don't have to get into it today, but maybe in a later episode we can talk about it a bit. But I do sidereal astrology, which is different than tropical astrology. Let's see. I don't know if let me
The
see if I can get it might still be in Virgo, but let me just look.
the tropical astrology for me is for general purposes. You know,
Oh
it,
yeah.
it's not it's for the entire collective, not just separate based on signs. So I don't even go there for that. But um, with the new moon, old contracts and cycles have end. And from our conversation
Oh
yesterday,
yes.
as for me, the contract has ended. You know, so going into a new moon, it's time to set intentions and align with the natural rhythm of the earth in chaotic energy and in natural rhythm. You
Okay, so sorry to cut you off, but I just want to throw this out there because so from my understanding, tropical is not aligned with the stars in the sky, so it's more of like a seasonal based on seasons and based on the inner earth, where sidereal tends is true sidereal and it is aligned with the actual constellations in the sky, and that kind of brings your view outside of the earth, right? And that one is in Gemini. So Virgo tropical and Gemini
like
sidereal.
if I was doing a reading and the person asked if they could know more about themselves, I use sidereal because it it's lining the it's lining their planets from the day that they were born. Everything in between that moment till the end has a lot of influence of the outside world, how they're conditioned, their thoughts, their beliefs, what they were raised to be, their line of work. So there's always a huge disconnect that I'm trying to reel them back in of that inner being that they disconnected from through their, you know, life lessons. So that is the time that I use uh, uh, Sidereal.
Tropical.
No, Sidereal. Tropical is the one that I just use for general, like, why am I feeling so chaotic today? What's in the ethers right now?
Well, okay, so here's the thing that I feel, and this pretty much set, like, because I'm a Libra in sidereal, and so I'm all about balance, which and not choosing sides, which has got me into a lot of trouble in life. But so ultimately, it's really so you have sidereal, you have tropical, and then you have pretty out something that's outside of that, which is whatever aligns with you is going to give you the right answers ultimately, because that's how this holographic world works. And so it doesn't really matter what system you're doing, it's going to be right for you. But for me, I just cannot. I have moved past the tropical world. And so when people say things like, oh, new moon in Virgo, I'm like, no.
Maybe,
It's
not
just
in
not for me
there.
anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's in Gemini, and and I am a master, reader. And so it's I know what everything means now, so it's hard for me to even try to appease people and say, "Oh yeah, you're right." No, I just no say no, I don't agree anymore. No. So if you want to talk about the new moon and the cycle of what the new moon means, I mean, we all see the moon in the sky and we know that it's new. Or we
Right.
don't see the moon. We
That's
don't
why
see
I
the moon.
said new
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
New moon. Just cut
Yeah.
out the middleman there.
Yeah.
New moon.
But what
But
Virgo, but what it means, so like here's the thing is like because obviously you look at it in Virgo, right? And so what that means to you, I totally am open to, because that's what it is to you. You're connected with the Virgo and I'm connected with the Gemini. And so I think that we could look at what that means to us, and ultimately that's the true piece, It doesn't matter.
I look at it as a new moon. I don't care what sign it's
Oh, okay. You didn't know. Okay. I didn't know if you.
that doesn't matter to me what sign it's in. What matters to me that it's a new cycle, new intentions, new direction, new focus to help release the shadow end of it that is finishing up from the full moon. So
Yes, I agree with that.
yeah, when it gets down to nitty gritty like that, I'm very subjective simply because knowing both sides of the coin, which we discussed that before, sometimes you just got to meet people where they're at. And so if they're on the tropical, you better know it. If they're on the sidereal side, I can never say that.
So some people say sidereal because that's how it's spelled, and some
Right.
people say sidereal.
It's sidereal. It's not sidereal, but it's sidereal. So if they're on that end of the spectrum, you got to know it. You can't.
And I'm on that. Like I listen to the weekly forecast. I know I can read charts. I actually read charts pretty well. And so yeah, no, I it's interesting because this kind of takes me to a whole new world, which is um I I before I would just like kind of appease people and say, "Oh yeah, they're both right." But now I know what I believe in, and it doesn't mean that you have to believe in it, but now I'm just going to say it's very important to me. It is important to me, the sidereal chart that actually aligns with the true stars that we see in the sky.
Mhm.
I feel like our astrology system should align with the stars in the sky. Like,
Right. And I agree. It should align with the stars in the sky. I mean that is your designated spot when you're born.
I mean, we don't say to the moon, well, we have this other system. It doesn't really align to the moon we see in the sky, but we're just going to call it a new moon because they told us to.
Uh-huh. Right. But for me, when I'm thinking about being that vessel for someone else to heal from, grow from, mature from, uh, connect with their inner self again. I think of tropical being the weather. It's always changing. And you got to be prepared for the change, or else you're going to be cold, you're going to be wet, you're going to be too hot, you're going to be uncomfortable. So when I come at it with a broad spectrum like that, it's easier for me to get a connection because one thing that I have learned, the questions doesn't always line up with their intentions. The intentions is something that I feel. The questions is what I'm hearing. And so I'm like, okay, well, the walk is not matching the talk here. We got to get down to the bottom of things so we can have a real conversation here.
Mhm.
Um, and I know it's because of what they're going through and their hurts and everything like that. And then, you know, e- everything that I have went through and learned and grew from, so it's a mixed bag of nuts. But I know if I don't reach them where they're at, nothing unfolds. It becomes a struggle war, and they clam up, they, you know, push away, and all this other kind of havoc starts. So I like
Yeah.
to set
Yeah.
intentions with, okay, well, this is the idea. Nothing is set in stone because you have free will to make a change. But if you're spinning around in loops, you know,
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I also want to not shy away from like who I am at the same time, you know? And
or
so kind of like what I'm saying right now is that if tropical is true for somebody else, that's totally cool. But I can't like agree with something that I don't agree with.
right, of course.
Yeah.
Why would you?
I think because I always have. And I think this is kind of like we were talking about this a little bit the other day about how I create monsters, or we all create monsters in a certain way, where I have for a really long time um just not talked about what I agree with. Instead of I would just kind of keep what I agree with quiet, because for some odd reason, I don't know, and maybe this you feel like this too, but like when I stand in the mother essence with certain people, like that, it's almost like this unwritten, unspoken um expectation that that's what I'm going to do. And I don't know if that's really real or if that is just how I've always felt because of DNA codes and my experience in this life
Mhm.
with, like, you need to be the older sister for your other sisters. You need to be this, you need to be that. And so, you're just going to be the protector, and you're not going to voice who you are because that makes other people uncomfortable.
Yeah, of course. I deal with that all the time. Uh, yeah, people having a conversation with people that's superficial, it never goes well because one, it's superficial. Two, there's a lot of judgment there. And three, a lot of projection. Four, no accountability and a lot of expectations. And so just getting people to be accountable, I find is challenging simply because you don't want to call them out at the same time. You want to be heard and respected, but it's not being received on the other end. So, the intention is to just pull back. You say you can't do this, fine. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to change your mind. I'm not going to. But what we've been conditioned to do, especially as females or just human beings in general, I don't want to give it a gender, um, is to be some something else that someone expects to be. So I get exactly what you're saying. It's like, can we have a conversation, not an argument? At the end of the day, the results are benefiting you. So let's just go with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm interested in what if if somebody, you or somebody else, identifies as, with the tropical system, and I identify with the sidereal system, and I'm gonna spin off really quick in a minute to these identification things, but that I can say, okay, the new moon's in Gemini, and you can say the new moon's in Virgo, and I can say, this is how I feel, this is how this makes me feel. And you can say, well, this is how this makes me feel. And we can say, oh, that's interesting, neat. Okay, okay. Well, I can see how that can affect you in your life and how that feel, like, and you can say that to me, and we can just be like, okay with ultimately that would be like the Aquarian mindset, which is everybody can be an independent, and there's this like um, prime or commonality that we all share, which is love, right?
Right. Yeah. Which my North Node is Aquarius, by the way.
Interesting. Yeah, love it. So, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you, Aquarian North Node?
I would, it's about everything that we talked about. It's the common denominator is love, you know?
And then what's the north? Because the North Node is like what your path, where you're going, right? And so if Aquarian, you're an Aquarian North Node. Okay, so okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready for the new age.
I'm getting ready for my age. You
What's
know,
in my, oh,
sometimes
my
don't,
North Node is a Virgo. And that is Virgos are very analytical, and I have fought um I have fought that for a long time. You've seen yesterday, right? So like I'm always like, I don't want to do what's good for me. Because Virgos usually can, like, they always are deciphering what's healthy, what's not healthy. I'm just like, I just like what feels good to me. I don't give a shit what's healthy.
a
But that's
Virgo,
not good.
a Virgo's power. It's inward. You get
Mhm.
your power, your inspiration, your power meant inside. You need to
Oh,
recharge away from everyone else. You know what I mean? So, it to
that
me it
makes
is
sense.
what it is until it isn't.
That makes
So,
sense.
to have a conversation with you and you say, well, for me, moon is in Gemini, I'm like, yeah, okay. Uh, Look, my thoughts have been scattered all over the place. It's a whole different conversation because Gemini rules a different part of the body.
Yeah.
It runs the mind versus Virgo. I'm going to be talking about something else. Well, you saw me yesterday. Well, you didn't see me yesterday, but you knew yesterday I was scrubbing floors. You know what I mean? Because I had to release some mental energy. And the best way for me to handle that was to turn inward and process it on my own. You know what I mean? That's a Virgo trait. So it's a whole different conversation. And the moon was in something else. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter to me simply because you met me where I was at and you're like, let me give you some food for thought here. You know what I mean? So it's a different perspective, one that I could not see for myself because of the huge block that was in the way, causing all that distraction. So I, this is why I am who I am. I'll turn away and walk away from an argument because it's not necessary. At the common product is love,
Yeah.
and uh,
Beautiful. Okay.
I'd rather be looking across at you, smiling at me versus you better do what I say. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, it feels good to talk about this, and to talk about everything that we talk about, because I feel like it's going to give our future talks a good foundation to know who we are on an individual level, and we won't have those questions next time. And now we'll be like, okay, where's the new moon for you? Okay, where's the new moon for you? Okay, cool, that's cool, all right. Like it,
Yeah.
now that we have
Here, where is
now
it?
that now that we know what where we're at, and that's like open dialogue. It's freaking awesome. I love it. Love
Yeah.
open dialogue.
I can't get this in the world of the Matrix, you know? I have
Well,
three
you
heads
can demand it.
and oh shoot, I think let's see
Put a sign on your front door.
the latest gossip or rumors, whatever I heard about what they were saying about me is that I had body parts in jars and stuff.
Oh,
And
no shit.
if you only knew how many smoothies I actually drink, I have green smoothies in jars. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous of the stuff
Yeah.
that people say. And I have a cabinet full of empty jars because I just pour it to jars. you know,
Yeah, and we all know that if the world, if this is a projection, these are the fears that they have within them.
like,
And I didn't know that, like, growing up, and pretty much up until I was 38 when I started my opening this up and my awakening and stuff. And so, I was that person too. Like, I saw the outside world as it was me, and I was the projection. It was like backwards instead of
yeah,
what I was projecting it out. And so, yeah, I think that that's a double-edged sword where, it hurts, but at the same time, it feels so good to know who we are,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can't put that mask back on. I can't do it. Yeah.
I know.
So I guess I'll be walking through the fire.
Who do you got in your hands?
This is Bama.
Say the name again.
Bama.
Bama
Yeah,
with a B.
with B.
Okay, what up, Bama? Hey, baby.
She's getting a haircut today. She's not going to be happy about that. But she's the cuddly one. She just loves to cuddle.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. She'll jump up in my lap and lay her head on my chest, and it just melts me every single time.
love that.
She's like, I just need some feel good attention.
That's so beautiful. So I think we're good, right? That's the old episode. So I'm Tracy. I'm a shadow worker, a shaman, and a holistic health guide within the Mother House, um, private membership, faith-based private membership association, and it was a good show, good day. Thank you.
A good day. And of course, I'm Tagg, Menopause and Women's Health Practitioner. All my information is in the link below. And we'll see you next video. Where's the end button?
You do this every time.